Everybody, it's Mary Claire, and I'm here to talk to you today about the first arm of our program, which is called Intermittent Fasting. So a lot of you may have heard of this, been interested in it, but don't know that much about it, and I am thrilled to bring this to you and explain the science behind it, which I think is the most important part for you to understand and feel like you can do this successfully. So what is intermittent fasting? So fasting is just going without food for a certain time period. Intermittent fasting is done several ways. When you look at the research or people who are doing it in common practice, some people for religious reasons will fast from a certain window of time throughout the day. Others will fast every other day or every third day, etc., or twice a week. And there's been several medical studies that have looked at the benefits of people who fasted versus not fasting, or looked at changes in biochemical markers on people before, after, and during a fast and what changes. So as far as the types, so there's a way to fast every day, and that is limiting your window of what you eat. You eat the same thing every day, you just eat it in a time window. And one of the most popular ones is called 16-8. So it's 16 hours of fasting versus 8 hours of eating in a 24-hour cycle. So since we sleep usually around 8 hours a night, it's probably easier to incorporate your fasting period to cover your sleep times. And these have to be consistent. You can't eat for 2 hours, fast for 2 hours, etc. You have to have an 8-hour eating window followed by a straight 16-hour fast. Now some people will do a 15-9 or a 14-10, whatever works for you is better. I know some people even do shorter windows of eating, and that may be what works for them. There are other people that will fast 2 days a week and go a very restrictive 500-calorie diet and then eat whatever they want the rest of the time. Actually, both of these types, fasting every day or fasting every other day or every third day, whatever, they both have the same health benefits. But for the Galveston diet, I think it's important to build this into your everyday life, because at least for me, if I know I can put it off tomorrow, if I only have to do it twice a week, it's like exercise. I'll tend to put it off the minute anything comes up that I feel like I can bump it. So just to keep it easier to stick to, I have decided to incorporate the 16-8, and I just love it. It's one of the easiest things I've ever done. So why do we do it? What are the health benefits? Well, I have several articles that I'm posting throughout today, and I really, really think it's important that you try your best to read through them because you'll understand the science a lot better. But in a nutshell, people who intermittent fast versus people who don't, we see a dramatic decrease in inflammatory markers in your bloodstream. Things that are known to be associated with inflammation, like your sedimentation rate, like your interleukin-6 levels. There's some very technical terms out there, but these are all measurable. And in people, they measure them, on a consistent basis when they just ate whenever they wanted versus when they fasted, and we saw a drop in that. On the flip side, especially something called adiponectin, which is a very, very powerful anti-inflammatory, those go up in people who are practicing intermittent fasting. So that's pretty exciting. You are decreasing your inflammation and increasing your anti-inflammation. So that's a synergistic approach to treating disease. So that is why intermittent fasting is working for people with chronic inflammatory conditions like lupus, like arthritis. The other exciting news, and I'm going to post this man's TED Talk, is when you put the body under a little bit of stress. So when you fast, you burn through all of your carbohydrates that you ate. Okay, that the body goes to carbs first. That's a natural phenomena. You can't get around that. Your body is going to burn carbs for efficiency, because when we were caveman, carbs weren't readily available, and so the body became adapted to go for those first if they were available. Now technology and modern food practices have made carbs more than available, actually too much available, and so we're dealing all of our obesity and a lot of our diseases simply because of our overabundance of carbohydrates. So You eat your meal, and within 12 hours, you have burned or stored all of the carbs that you ate, okay? And burned through the glycogen that was stored in your liver for backup, okay? So then in the 12 hours after that, your body shifts to burning fat. That's what it's supposed to do. That's not an unhealthy thing. That is a good thing. When you're burning fat, your body, as a byproduct, creates something called ketone bodies, which are detectable in the urine and in the blood, and is a sign that your body is now switched to fat metabolism instead of carbohydrate metabolism, and you know that you're burning fat. Neurons, especially in our neurons that are nerves, basically, and the nerve cells are called neurons, run really, really well on ketones, especially well, and that is probably an adaptation from when we were cavemen, because when you were out of carbs, you were probably starving and waiting for the next crop to come by, and it would behoove you to think clearer so you survive. Okay, it's a survival technique. When you're burning fat, you work better, and there's multiple studies that prove this. Here's the most exciting research. They are putting patients with neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia. They are using intermittent fasting as a treatment tool, and the results are astounding. And so those of you who have family members with these neurodegenerative diseases, I would start intermittent fasting. They're showing that possibly it's decreasing the onset of disease in descendants, or it is they're actually getting better. These patients are getting better. So this guy's research is just a beautiful thing. It's fascinating. He's funded by the National Institutes of Health, and which is a government agency. He makes like nothing. He's so brilliant, a PhD guy, and he said, why aren't you hearing this on the news? Because, drug companies need people to be sick, sadly, to make money, and food companies need people to eat all day to make money. Here's the biggest fallacy. I'm going to blow your mind right here, right now. Eating small meals throughout the day is not the way to go. That is a fallacy that's never, ever medically been proven to be helpful. I was taught that. I have done that for years, and guess what? It wasn't working. Eating multiple meals throughout the day does nothing for your metabolism. It doesn't speed it up. It doesn't slow it down. Nothing. That is a theory that sounded really good, but it was never, ever proven, and it is probably one of the main causes of the obesity epidemic, because we were basically eating carbs throughout the day and never, ever letting our bodies get into the fat burning stage. So, mind blow number one. You should not be eating multiple meals throughout the day. It's not helping you. If you're watching this video, you're probably frustrated with why you're not losing weight. Just try this. Now, don't try it overnight. Take your time. I suggest that every day, push your breakfast. So what I do, I eat from noon till 8 p.m. I basically skip breakfast, okay? First 2 days it was tough, but I eased into it. Instead of eating at 6:30 when I woke up in the morning, I would wait till like 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then 10, and I would push it out a little further every day until I got to noon, and then it was like I did it, and it wasn't really that hard. And all the hundreds of people who've done this plan so far, they say intermittent fasting took about a week, and now it's super easy, and they love it. So, does intermittent fasting help you lose weight? A little. I think decreasing the inflammation will help you get rid of some of the fluid, and you probably will eat a little bit less calories than you would eating in a bigger time window, but it's not really, the weight loss is not why we're doing this. We are doing this for long-term health benefits. Long-term health benefits. Keeping you healthy for the rest of your life. How do you want to age? How do you want to grow old? Do you want to be cognizant? Do you want to have your brain functioning at full capacity? Intermittent fasting is definitely a way to help you get there. So read the articles. Please pay attention today, and I can't wait to hear your results.